of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Item E, adoption and approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, under item F, we have two public hearings. The first public hearing, Petaluma Federation of Teachers contract reopeners. A public hearing will be conducted regarding the contract reopeners for a 3-year master contract commencing with the 2012-2013 school year, received from the Petaluma Federation of Teachers and the Petaluma School District. Opening this hearing, do I have any speakers on this subject? Hearing none, I will close that hearing. Item 2, the public hearing on the California School Employees Association, CSEA contract reopeners. A public hearing will be conducted regarding contract reopeners for the 2012-2013 school year, received from CSEA Chapter 212 and the Petaluma School District. Do I hear anybody? Okay, let's close. Thank you. Item G, special recognitions and presentations. We have student representatives making presentations of the Student of the Month awards to 2 students from each of our secondary schools in the Petaluma Joint Union High School District for the month of February. And how this works is I have the student reps come forward, they introduce their students, the student comes up, they get their plaque, they look into the camera as we hear wonderful things about their accomplishments. And then we acknowledge their families that might be with them today. So this is our favorite part of the meeting. Yes.
CASA students are both in plays tonight, or actually dress rehearsal this evening, since they will not be here, so there's no CASA.
No CASA tonight. Okay, well, we'll catch them up next month. Okay. Okay, so we representatives from Kenilworth Junior High.
Hi, I'm Lauren and I'm representing Kenilworth Junior High. Kenilworth Junior High School is pleased to announce the January Student of the Month, Jordan Lute. Jordan has gained a wonderful reputation at Kenilworth for being a conscientious and high-achieving student. Jordan maintains excellent grades and mostly earns A's and A+. Jordan is proud of his grades because he knows that he has worked as hard as he possibly can to get the best grades possible. Jordan is taking a very rigorous course load that includes advanced English, Algebra 1, and Spanish 1B. In all subjects, his teachers are consistently impressed with his work and as he puts great effort into each assignment. They see Jordan as a quiet, hardworking student who can always be counted on to provide a thoughtful response to any question. His insightful participation and his consistent high quality of work make him a wonderful contributor to any classroom. Jordan's favorite subjects are science and history. He really enjoys physical science this year because he is interested in physics and he really enjoys the hands-on labs and experiments. He loves history because the teacher makes it very fun. Outside of school, Jordan keeps it very active. He has been playing soccer for the past 5 years. He also has a passion for board sports. He enjoys snowboarding in Tahoe and wakeboarding in Lake Sonoma and skimboarding at the coast. In his additional free time, he likes to hang out with his friends. Jordan is not only respected by his teacher, but also by his peers. Jordan's friends consider him to be humorous, kind, and intelligent. Jordan has big dreams for his future. He knows that he wants to attend college and hopes to either go to Stanford or UC Berkeley. Jordan's family, friends, and teachers are all confident in his future success due to his hardworking nature, intelligent insight, and his collaborative personality. Congratulations, Jordan.
And Jordan's family, if you would rise and be acknowledged for your support.
And Kenilworth Junior High Schools is pleased to introduce our other student of the month of February, Adria Barrich. Adria is an extraordinary young woman who has excelled here at Kenilworth. She has maintained a 4.0 for all of 8th grade, including earning several A+. All of her teachers have witnessed many examples of her talent and have long been impressed by her diligence and work ethic. Teachers consider her an exemplary student because she shows great effort and detail in her work. Every assignment she turns in is of the best quality. It is clear to her, all of her teachers, and everyone who knows her that she truly cares about the work she does and always strives to do her best. She is also impeccably organized, which helps her keep track of all the things she wants to accomplish. Teachers also appreciate that she is always polite and helpful with her classmates and teachers. Adria says that her favorite class is English because she enjoys being able to express herself in the fun writing activities. Currently, she has started on the magazine project, the biggest project of the year, which she is focusing on hairstyling. Overall, Adria is seen as a wonderful example of cooperation, motivation, and maturity. In addition to being a diligent student, Adria is very well-rounded. Adria really enjoys sports and loves running. She looks forward to participating in Kenilworth track this year. She has also been playing soccer for many years and hopes to try out for the Casa Grande soccer team next year. Adria is also musically inclined and she has a very good passion for singing. Last year, she also decided to learn the guitar and she has been teaching herself to play ever since. She shows off her talent by performing in talent shows since first grade. She plans on participating in Kenilworth's talent show this year as well. Adria has an abundance of interests and talents that make her a remarkable student. Adria is also known in Kenilworth for her wonderful personality. Friends describe her as happy, friendly, outgoing, and active. As her Kenilworth career comes to a close, Adria definitely sees college in her future. Adria hopes to follow her dreams to become either a nurse or an English teacher. At Kenilworth, we are confident that Adria will be successful in whichever path she may choose because of her diligence, work ethic, and delightful personality. Congratulations, Adria.
Adria's family, if you would rise and be acknowledged. Okay, and the representative from Petaluma Junior High.
Hi, my name is Ty Pearson, and I'm a PGHS leadership student. And the February Student of the Month at Petaluma Junior High School is Allison Roper.
Congratulations.
A bright, shining star, Allison Roper is the February Student of the Month at Petaluma Junior High School. Allison is intelligent, hardworking, highly organized, and a great student. Her teachers state, Allison's positive attitude and bright personality adds to the learning environment. She is a joy to have in class. Well-rounded, Allison is involved in many activities. She was on the track team last year and plans to join the track team again this year. This year, she will also run for student council for the 9th grade at Petaluma High School. Outside of school, Allison plays club volleyball for the Empire Volleyball Club, attending practice 2 times per week. She has been playing guitar since the 3rd grade and loves to read. She has participated in various reading contests and won for reading the most books in the 5th grade. Allison enjoys spending time with her family, especially reading to her little brother. Allison plans to continue to work hard and be a top performer at Petaluma High School in order to be accepted into the Air Force Academy to become a pilot. She also plans on becoming fluent in French and Spanish. Allison's mother states, Allison has become very focused and dedicated in her schoolwork. She loves the challenges presented to her and is committed to doing her very best. I am very proud to have Allison as my daughter. Congratulations, Allison Roper.
If you would rise and be acknowledged for your support.
I'm Eden Yashar. I'm student representative from Petaluma Junior High, and Petaluma Junior High School chose Jorge Becerra as the Student of the Month for February. Jorge Becerra Ariaza has been chosen as the February Student of the Month at Petaluma Junior High School. An impressive young man with a 4.0 grade point average in the 8th grade, Jorge is smart, hardworking, dedicated, determined, and sincere. He gets along well with others and everyone likes him. Jorge is polite, respectful, and has a good sense of humor. Teachers state Jorge's attitude towards learning makes him a joy to have in class. He is a hard and steady worker, and we can always count on him to give his best effort. Congratulations on a job well done. For fun, Jorge builds model muscle cars and collects model cars as well. He also enjoys playing video games. Jorge's future plans include doing his best in school to get good grades and attending a technical school to become an auto mechanic. Jorge's parents state Jorge is an excellent student, but besides that, he is a great son and brother who cares about helping the family and all the people who need his help. The whole family is proud of him for his perseverance to achieve what he wants. We know that he will get very far in life. Congratulations, Jorge Becerra Ariaza.
Thank you. And a representative from Petaluma High School.
Petaluma High School would like to introduce John Newsom as Student of the Month for February 2012. John is what only can be described as a dedicated student. He has taken rigorous courses throughout his career here at Petaluma High. In addition to taking the most difficult coursework, he has made the honor roll list all 4 years. John not was only a 2-year member of the Trojan football team, but he was twice recognized as an athletic scholar for having a high GPA during those seasons. He is a 4-year member of the Petaluma High School award-winning Wind Ensemble and Marching Band, having had the pleasure of representing our school at football games and other spirit activities, as well as competitions. Mr. Newsom is a 4-year member of the drum line as well. He is currently serving as drum captain this year. In addition, John has tutored part-time, worked under a general contractor, and performed numerous other odd jobs throughout the school in summer. John has volunteered more than 100 hours of his time to give back to the community, which has provided him with so much. Outside of school, John is interested in skating, reading, exercising, socializing, playing games, hiking, and helping anyone he can. John would like to thank the Petaluma community, especially the PHS staff, for providing him with such wonderful life-changing experiences. Congratulations, John.
John's family, if you would rise and be acknowledged.
And Petaluma High School would like to introduce Sylvia Alcada as the second student of the month. Sylvia is a senior at Petaluma High School. Throughout her life, she has straddled 2 cultures. Sylvia lived in Mexico during her junior high years and was unable to attend school because of the distance between her house and the school was so great. Upon her return to California, high school seemed scary. But Sylvia persisted, and with hard work and hope for the future, she has maintained a 4.9 GPA and is ranked 17th in her class. She has received the Community Achievement Award twice during her high school career due to her academic achievements. She was also recognized as the most improved player in the JV soccer team this past year. During the summer, Sylvia volunteers in St. Vincent de Paul's Church Committee and organizes events for the community. She enjoys working with others and is respectful to everyone. Sylvia plans to attend UC Davis and will be the second in her family to graduate from high school and go to college. Sylvia is an exemplary student who demonstrates determination and commitment in everything she does. Congratulations, Sylvia.
If you would rise and be Now you understand why this is our favorite part of the board meetings. It's because we get to hear about these amazing students and their accomplishments. And we thank you all for your continued hard work. Right now, we will take a very short recess in case any of you have to go home and do homework or something. You're welcome to stay. We have lots of exciting stuff on our agenda, but we understand that you might have other commitments. So I will take a very short recess so that you can sneak out. Okay, great. Okay. Item H, approval of the minutes of February 14th, 2012. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item I, comments from the public regarding any items not on the agenda. No items, okay. Item J, report on activities and correspondence of school board members. It's been a busy couple of weeks. I attended the County Committee on School District Organization where we discussed and decided on trustee areas for the Sonoma County Board of Education, pending whether or not there's going to be election to go from 7 to 5. So we've picked out boundaries for 7 and for 5. So, and the WASC gathering at Casa Grande, they are involved in that 3-day process now. Various sporting events, including tennis matches at PHS and Casa Grande, softball, and site tour at Casa Grande and Sonoma Mountain, the Athletic Boosters Crab Feed, and the Coalition for Underage Drinking, Tobacco, and Other Drugs Committee meeting.
That's it.
Thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that covers everything. It's been a busy couple weeks. All right, item K, approval of the consent agenda by consolidated motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we have a number of hold items. Under Administration and Human Resources, item 2, student attendance calendars for the 2012-2013 year. Recommended motion that the board approve the 2012-2013 student attendance calendars for the regular schools.
So moved.
Second. There's no public comment?
That's why I had it be a hold item.
Yeah,
Because I assumed we would have,
we have
is that on that?
Maybe a calendar?
Nothing on the calendar.
Nothing under calendar?
But I will share with you that a couple of things in regards to the calendar, because we have had public input,
Right.
is we have been starting on the 3rd Wednesday in August. You'll see that it's been moved to the 4th Wednesday in August for the start. We've also, based on the district's proposed school year for next year, have calendared 175 school days as opposed to 177.
Right.
If you look at the bottom right-hand side, we do have the Federation's proposal, and the calendar committee considered both of these. So if it's changed to 176 instructional days and 2 staff development days, we've stated where they will be, so they will come back revised with those for board action at a later date.
Okay.
But we wanted that to be known in the initial contract or initial calendar as we proceed to negotiations on it.
Okay.
And as opposed to ending on May 24th, where we would have ended if we started on August 15th, we're ending on May 31st. And
After Memorial Day.
the week after Memorial Day.
Okay.
Follow that.
So the graduation would be the week after Memorial Day and not the week of Memorial Day. Again, listening to input that's come before the board.
When is the last day of school this year?
The last day of school is the Friday before Memorial Day.
This year.
I've got it to my calendar.
This year.
This year it is.
Yeah, I've got
This
my
is
calendar.
for next year.
So yeah, the last day is the 25th of May.
Well, are we discussing?
Yes.
I see that when you add those furlough days up, there's like 8 of them.
Mhm.
And I thought personally it made more sense to front and load them, or at least 6 of them, so you could start after Labor Day, or at least start the first week of September. But I understand that that squeezes us for a couple of classes semester-wise.
Yeah,
Right,
the-
because the semesters are so skewed already.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at this, we don't like to go beyond 13-day variance between the first semester and the second semester, and we like to have a winter break at the semester. So to accomplish that, we have 81 days in the first semester, 94 days in the second semester, and that's what's starting on the 22nd. So starting any later than the 22nd, when you get to semester classes, particularly government and econ, that doesn't work for starting any later than the 22nd of
No,
August.
I get that, but optimally you'd start the first week of September and then finish in the first week of June.
Right, but because of the
No,
desire to end the
Yeah, when we had
semester
a lot
and
of,
break.
we went through a significant process when we made the change to start earlier in August. And that was several years ago. And the real outcome is that students now have some downtime at winter break. It used to be, for winter break, the A students were continuing to study because finals were shortly thereafter. The poor students were trying to make up their work, and we were hearing from families that they had no winter break. Winter break was devoted to school. And so this gives an opportunity, we hope, for families to enjoy a winter break as a family, and for students to get some downtime, which we know is critical for them to have an opportunity to take a breath before they begin the second semester.
You know, I think this is one of the harder things that the district does really, because with 7,500 students, no matter what you do, there's competing interest as far as somebody may want 3 weeks of winter break because they go to Europe, and somebody wants to, and everybody can look at it from one place. At least this year seems like there's, you know, based upon the amount of public comment that I got a lot. I thought there's some things for everybody here. It's not perfect, but it seems to be a pretty good piece of money.
And the calendar committee took a significant amount of time and also getting input into the process. So we believe this is best. And then there's another factor, and that is the county common calendar. And that's starting on the 20th for the first day of school, but it's a 180-day calendar, so.
Okay.
And they're actually, they are going through the 6th of June, but again, it's for a 180-day calendar, so that's the difference.
Right.
Well,
And
plus,
go ahead.
you were able to get the graduation beyond Memorial Day.
Right.
Right.
So that's important for people, I think,
Right.
as opposed
And
to
we
having
hear
it
that.
on Memorial Day.
Yeah,
Memorial Day
I don't
weekend.
anticipate we'll be able to do that every year, but in this calendar, it works.
Well, and then again, back to my first comment, you're gonna have people that want it then and people that don't. I mean, it's,
Right, yeah, there's
it's a
gonna be people
judgment.
who want it Memorial Weekend because of travel.
At the end of the day, if we're making decisions based upon what's best for the education of our children, I think we're making the right decision.
Right. And what gives us the most effective use of the limited budget, if we have as close to a correspondence with the county calendar,
Right.
we save money on busing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and it's a significant
It's
cost
significant.
for
Yeah.
variances from the county common
yeah,
calendar.
I know that one time it was like $80,000 savings, which is
Yeah,
a lot of teaching. So,
it's several $1,000s a day
yeah,
for
so,
special education transportation,
yeah. So it's important to,
Which is mandated.
which is mandated.
But
right,
underfunded.
not funded, yeah,
Yes, significantly underfunded.
yeah.
Like 100% underfunded.
Right, okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 3, Resolution 11-12-15, recommended motion that a Resolution 11-12-15 of the Board of Education of the Petaluma City Elementary and Joint Union High School Districts designating an alternative holiday in lieu of a regular holiday in the 2012-2013 school year be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
What's the,
You want to hit the,
I can do that if you like.
okay,
Just stand up for a while, but it's, we have actually annually used the day before Thanksgiving to celebrate Admission Day.
right.
Combine those, and so that's what we're requesting that we do the same again.
And I gotta tell you, the day before Thanksgiving, I always celebrate Mission Day.
That's good. I will come by and see your California flag flying,
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure.
wake up in the morning and
Thank goodness I live in California. Actually, it's probably a gorgeous day out there, so.
and I take my kids out of school, I get in the car and go wherever I'm going.
Yeah, all right.
Troy still wrestles with the bear flag.
Any questions? those in favor?
Aye.
Item 4, Resolution 111216, recommended motion that the Resolution 111216 of the Board of Education of the Petaluma City Elementary and Joint Union High School Districts honoring the contributions of the administrators to quality education and declaring the week of March 5th through 9th, 2012 as Week of the School Administrator be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Ron?
Is this yours, Bowman? You put this in?
No?
Let's make Ron get up and explain how we need to honor it.
We know, I mean, I can discuss it, but I just assumed that you would want to talk about the amazing administrators we have at our sites.
It is a pleasure to recognize those administrators who really do a tremendous job in this district. We have outstanding administrators who are helping to lead our schools into wonderful steps as we move further and further into the 21st century. So this is the section of the week that's put aside to recognize those administrators for the work that they do.
And they do excellent work, and it's not an easy job.
I had no idea how hard that job was until I got this job. And now I'm glad I had this job and not that job. Thank you. Right?
Yes.
Especially the hero.
Yes.
Yes.
I know, every meeting.
It is. I'm basically going to stand up here for a while.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Don't move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 5, Resolution 111217, recommended motion that Resolution 111217 of the Board of Education of the Petaluma City Elementary and Joint Union High School Districts declaring the week of March 12th through 16th, 2012 as Adult Education Week be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
I think you've heard here before that, of course, we have wonderful adult ed teachers who are really committed to serving their population. And we have a program now in Petaluma that is almost non-existent anywhere else. If you were here, I don't remember the exact date, I'm sure I have it on my calendar, but January something, we graduated 30 adult ed students who got their high school diploma. And that's an opportunity that they really wouldn't have found in many other places. And so we have a lot of teachers in adult ed that come from our schools and from all over the place to provide services to adults that wouldn't be able to get them any other way. And so, again, we set aside time to recognize them and honor them for what they do.
Thank you. Yeah, it also is the opportunity for us to have that one final, there are students who don't fit into the comprehensive high school or some of the alternatives, and it's the final alternative. So having seen some of those kids graduate there, it's very rewarding to see that.
Yes, and a number of other things.
Right.
Technology,
Right.
English
for
for second language learners. So it offers a lot of
Yeah.
possibilities and skills.
Wonderful. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item 6, Resolution 111218, recommended motion that Resolution 111218 of the Board of Education of the Petaluma City Elementary and Joint Union High School Districts identifying needed credentials and certificates to be skipped in a certificated layoff process in the 2011-2012 school year be adopted. So moved.
Second.
Okay, I got the good news, and so this starts getting into things that aren't quite
That's
so
good.
pleasant. As we move into layoff, you have the authority to recognize certain credentials and certificates are needed in this district for the programs and the priorities that we're trying to meet. And so the people with those certificates and credentials will be skipped in the layoff process so that we make sure that we maintain their services and special programs that they need and working with ed services. Number of those people have been used our limited budget dollars to get them trained to make sure that we have those services, and we want to make sure we maintain those teachers.
Okay, any question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 7, Resolution 111219, recommended motion that Resolution 111219 of the Board of Education of the Petaluma City Elementary and Joint Union High School Districts establishing the criteria determining the order of layoff among certificated employees with the same seniority date in the 2011-2012 school year be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Ron?
Well, as you can imagine, again, the unfortunate part is that we have to go into layoff, which I'm going to get down there a little bit later, and that there are a number of people, due to the nature of the business, a lot of people are hired at the same time, and so we have to, as we go through the layoff process and decide who has seniority, we look at the credentials that they have, the various things that they bring to the district to determine who is higher and lower on the seniority list when that comes along.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 8, Resolution 11-1220. Recommended motion that Resolution 11-1220 of the Board of Education of the Petaluma City Elementary School District and the Petaluma Joint Union High School District reducing or discontinuing particular kinds of services by 10.7 full-time equivalents for the 2012-2013 school year be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Well, this really comes from the sites. We, unfortunately, because we are unclear on the budget, and we actually, as you just agreed, we're going to start negotiating the contracts that you saw, so that we are hopefully over noticing. Not great for people that are out of the sites, but we have to be sure that we don't end up with teachers on our next year that we don't have a position for. And so this looks at particular kinds of service. If we need fewer English or social science or art teachers, so that we can then notice them by the date that's necessary. We will hopefully find out that we have the funds to bring them back before they miss a day of service, but we have to ensure that we don't impact our own budget.
Okay, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 9, Resolution 11-1221, recommended motion that Resolution 11-1221 of the Board of Education of the Petaluma City Elementary School District and the Petaluma Joint Union High School District reducing or discontinuing particular kinds of services by 11.66 hours per day in the adult education program for the 2012-2013 school year be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's really the same thing, except for in adult ed,
Yeah.
and again, we
Based
will
on-
hope to bring back their services as we find that we have the funds to do so.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 10, thank you. Item 10, superintendent's contract. Recommended motion that the board approve the superintendent's contract.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, sure.
We have
Give
a
it to Mike.
discussion.
Give it to Mike. My only discussion would be I'm really, really happy that we're hiring Steve, and Steve's agreed to stay here. I think we're very, very lucky, and the community's lucky, and in the 6+ years I think that I've been here, it was a long job interview, and you passed. I'm really happy to have you. So,
Yes.
My comment is more in editing. I mean, I don't want to tell Steve what pronoun he should use or shouldn't use. But on page 6 under C,
Is there
he's a she.
is there still one in there?
Yeah, if you look at the 10C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 line.
Wow, and I never even got that.
Okay.
Yep, there we go.
There's still
Good
one.
eye. As amended, I'm assuming that this will be, as
I think we have to renegotiate.
With the correct pronouns in, I would approve. But I would second Troy's sentence.
yes, and I do appreciate the smooth transition that Steve is affording us, so thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Welcome aboard, Steve.
Yes. Okay, we have a number of first readings, and I'm not sure, I know we have some hold items, but I think that one is one of the last discussion items. So, any discussion items on 11 through 17? Okay, and those readings, there's the policies, no. Under business services, oh goodness. Again, just, we already have consent, the first reading. Information only. Under educational services, item 4 is a hold item, resolution 11/12/30, recommended motion that resolution 11/12/30 of the Board of Education of the Petaluma City Elementary and Petaluma Joint Union High School Districts regarding aligning practices and activities with the Upstream Investments Initiative for the 2011-2012 school year be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Jane?
Yes. So this is the presentation at our last meeting. We had Marla Stewart come from the county and talked about the upstream investments that the county is putting forth to all of Sonoma County. And the resolution says that we would align our practices and we would identify any of the programs that we have going on in Petaluma City Schools to their portfolio. So that's how we would align, is that the practices that are prevention focused, that fit and align with their ideas in the resolution, we would identify and submit to their portfolio for approval. It would not involve a lot of staff time because a lot of the programs that we already have are in the portfolio. For example, Avance, already in the portfolio. It would take a little bit of staff time to kind of cull through and look at the other programs that we are doing, that we have in place, that could fit into their tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. But other than that, there'd be no financial cost or anything like that. It would just be a recognition that we support prevention and prevention-based activities, and that we are working in consortium with other agencies within the county.
I like anything that helps us try to integrate our efforts with those efforts throughout the county. Just like in Petaluma, we have various youth organizations that we have people, coalitions, etc. And so if it enables us to prevent as opposed to having to intervene later on, I think it's excellent. So.
But this is precatory, not mandatory, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we see something that maybe doesn't really apply to us, or
We don't have to become involved.
okay,
Just the areas that we
choose.
that we choose, yeah.
and that are our forte.
Right. The other door that it does open in this climate, we don't know what will actually happen with it, but it does open possible funding.
Okay. Well, that's always
Yes.
welcome, if it ever happens.
Right.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item 5. We have a first reading of an amended board policy. Discussion regarding the following amended board policy, BP 5145.12, search and seizure. We were introduced to this item at our last meeting. It's a discussion. Never mind, I don't need a motion. At our last meeting, and we wanted to have the opportunity to get the public's input and to see if we have any additional questions that we would like to have answered before we consider this in the future. So I have several speaker cards. Does anybody wish to speak to this up here first?
Nope.
Okay, so I have some speaker cards. First, I have Kumari. Sivadas, thank you. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
You need to read your little disclaimer.
No, it's
That was
it's an item.
It's an action, not an action item, it's an agenda item, so I have.
My name is Kumari Sivadas. I live at 880 First Street in Sebastopol.
Where?
Sebastopol. Yeah. I have worked in the public schools in Sonoma County for 27 years. I'm retired now, but at one point I actually worked at Grant School and McNair and also Wilson Schools. Probably some others too, but As a parent and a grandparent, I am very much concerned about the use of marijuana by our teenagers, anyone under 18 years old. It's a problem. It's a huge problem for our parents, it's a problem for the schools, it's a problem for the community. But I don't believe that the problem is solved by bringing in law enforcement and drug sniffing dogs. I think education is the answer, not punishment. Several years ago, the West County schools also proposed the same resolution, the same idea, and there was some discussion about bringing it into Annalee and El Molino high schools. And at that time, I was at that meeting, and at that time, there was a huge outpouring from the community who came in opposition to it. And there were many students that spoke, and I think that I was most impressed by the students, because from their point of view, the things that they had to say, that they voiced, really did convince the school board to drop the idea. Some of the things that the students said was they felt like this was bringing in a big brother type of mentality, that it was an invasion of their privacy. They almost unanimously felt that bringing dogs into the schools was not the way to go. And I think that if you proceed with this program, I think you have to realize that you're bringing in a lot of unintended consequences. If marijuana is found, what happens to the student? Is the idea that you're going to scare students, teach them a lesson, punish them for bad behavior, all of these things? And ultimately, are they going to be expelled? Is that the solution? I don't think so. If you label a student, too often that label sticks, and that's the kind of person that student becomes. I think that these tactics stigmatize students. I think they alienate students that get caught. And I'm proposing that there are programs available that would include students and bring students in, give them a sense of connecting. That's what they need. This is what the research has shown. These kids need to be helped and counseled. We need to educate them of the risks that they're taking by using marijuana at a young age. How about bringing them in instead of pushing them away? I think that the youth must be acknowledged before they will trust us. Fortunately, there are some good programs available. I brought two of them with me today. One is Safety First, which is a reality-based approach to teens, drugs, and drug education by Marsha Rosenbaum, and I will leave this here with you. And the other one is Beyond Zero Tolerance, a reality-based approach to drug education and student assistance. Now, these programs came out from the Drug Policy Alliance, which is based in San Francisco, and I know that they're being implemented in the Oakland schools, and they have been for many years. What was I going to say? Well, I think that I can leave these brochures with you, and I hope that you will take the time to investigate the programs and see if they would work here in Petaluma High School. I think it's worth it. I think education is the key, not punishment. And I think as educators, we know that positive reinforcement works much better than negative reinforcement. And I think these are good alternatives. I wish that I had copies for each one of you.
That's okay.
And actually, when is your next school board meeting?
March 13th, I believe.
March 13th. Well, perhaps I can order more copies of these. I will leave them, but I will also get more for you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I think
Thank
that's
you very
everything I
much.
wanted to say. Sure.
Okay, and Linda Stokely.
Hi, my name is Linda Stokely. I live at 2016 Chetwood Drive here in Petaluma. I do not have children in school anymore. I'm proud to say my son has graduated from Chico State and is now gainfully employed. Every mother's
Congratulations.
yes, but when I saw the headlines in the Argus Courier, I had to come and say something, because I know that my child would have been one of those who would have brought it to school and who would have been stigmatized for life. And he's been able to come through it and get past it. And I just feel that kids make stupid decisions when they're young. I mean, I know I made some dumb decisions, and I'm just really worried that if you have dogs on campus and sniffing out the drugs, that these kids are gonna get stigmatized early on, and, you know, they made a bad mistake. It can keep them from getting financial aid, which can keep some of the kids from even going on to college. And so I've done a lot of learning in the past year myself, and I've really learned that drugs is a health issue. It's not a criminal issue. And my heart just went out to the kids when I thought about police and police dogs on campus. And I feel like campuses and learning education need to be somewhere where kids are attracted to come to, not to where they feel like it's a police state on campus. And so I want to urge you, like my friend Kumari who came here, to look at education. There's a wonderful little book that she's going to give you, and I just wanted to read just a little bit about it, out of it. It's by Rodney Skager, who's a PhD. He's Professor Emeritus from UCLA Graduate School, co-director of the Attorney General's California Student Survey, has been authoring reports since 1986. He has written about research and theory on prevention, prevalence of substance abuse among youth, and correlates of substance abuse in the youth population. So, I read in the paper where somebody from Petaluma High School is seeing these statistics go up, and I just have to say that as a math major myself, I know the value of conducting a bona fide scientific study and studying research and gathering the information. So I wanted to encourage you to take a look at this book, and then I just wanted to read a little excerpt from the back from Brenda Davis, President of the California State PTA. She says, suspension or expulsion of students who use alcohol and drugs without behavioral intervention, mentoring, or rehabilitative referral is ineffective and unsuccessful in curtailing substance abuse. The California State PTA encourages the use of programs that include education, counseling, support, and treatment as responses to students' substance abuse. Parents and teachers can't afford to ignore the realities of what their teens are doing. Beyond Zero Tolerance deals realistically with alcohol and drugs, helping to open up an honest dialogue between parents and teens. So I'm encouraging you to read this, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And do you have any other speakers on this? Oh, if you could get them to Sue, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Sure.
This is up for discussion.
Yes, it is.
I have
Discussion item.
comments.
Can I just start, I just want to start with one thing, because I'm not sure that you'll afford me the opportunity of 2 minutes to read this, because I think that might put something into context. The proposed policy says, in an effort to keep the schools free of potentially dangerous contraband, the district may use specially trained and capable non-aggressive dogs to sniff out and alert staff to the presence of substances prohibited by law or board policy. The dogs may sniff around lockers, desks, or vehicles on district property or at district-sponsored events. Dogs shall not sniff within the close proximity of students or other persons and may not sniff any personal items on those persons without either a reasonable suspicion or the consent of the individual. And that's the entire piece of the drug sniffing policy. Dave, is that correct?
That's correct.
And I just want to make sure I read that to put in context, because some of the discussion, which is valued and I appreciate, might lead somebody who's watching this not live to think that the policy was something other than what I just read. So hopefully that might have put into context something, Sherry, you might want to add to, and I might come back.
Yeah, I really appreciate people coming to public comment, because it doesn't happen as often as I think many of us would like, because it's important to hear what you think. It's also important, though, that you come to as many meetings and you watch, if you can't come, the taped versions, so you make sure that you get a really accurate understanding of what we're actually dealing with, what's happening, and what we're proposing to do. And I made some notes while y'all were talking. We have a problem. It's not a scientific study of statistics. It is every single board meeting. It is several students in closed session that we've caught using or having drugs or under the influence of alcohol. lately it's really been marijuana. So it's not, we did some study of years and showed it's going up a couple. It's every single meeting. The other thing we know is it's so important to keep these children in school. And we learn all about their home lives, we learn about any disabilities they have, we look at their grades, we look at their attendance, we look at test scores, we look at where they're going, where they're coming from. We evaluate all of this. We do give referrals, there is counseling, and we do everything we can do to give them many, 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 many opportunities to stay in our district. It is so important to us. So you need to know that, and I think because we're here every meeting, that's very important to us, and all of that is really well thought out, and our hearts and souls are in keeping these kids in school and providing opportunities for them to do better. And again, the painted picture of police officers walking around with 3 or 4 dogs around campus, and that's just not what it's about. There'll be well drawn out policy. We'll do an assembly beforehand. Letters will go home to parents. And again, we're not going to go into a classroom with children sitting at desks where dogs are going to make them nervous and start sniffing around them and their backpacks and their belongings. It's to be preventative. It's not punishing. We do have some great programs in school. Caring School Communities is one of them that starts in the elementary schools and goes all the way through. It's a very good program about keeping kids connected to one another. It's an excellent program. That's it. That's all I have in my notes. Mike?
I read the whole thing, not just the dog piece, but as you go through it with individual searches and the use of the other deterrents, searches of lockers and if we want to use metal detectors, et cetera, it's just we may use it. It's just putting arrows in our quiver if we should need it. Doesn't mean we're going to use it, doesn't mean we have to use it. I kind of agree with one of the speakers about education, but I also agree, at least in this country, both at the federal and state level, for the past 10 or more years, there's been a massive amount of money spent on drug education. And I mean a massive amount. Just say no on drugs. I think every parent in their right mind tells their kids not to use drugs. It's just goes on, and we've thrown no end of money at it. But yet, by our own inter-district studies, we're showing a spike in marijuana use. So I understand that we have some kind of hypocritical bipolar messages going out there to those kids. You know, don't use marijuana, but watch us all pop pills because they just advertise on TV that is the key to happiness in life. So these kids are getting weird messages. And if a doctor prescribes it, well, it's okay to be medicated out of your mind, but don't take it out of a plastic bag. So there's some, really conflicting messages. Having said that, goes the education piece. In the meantime, like Sherry said, we have to protect our campuses and protect the kids from themselves in some respects. And we owe it to the teachers, to the fellow students, and more importantly to the kids who are under the influence. It's not a good learning environment when you come up and you're not ready to learn. And it's bad enough when we have it because of hunger and family issues, but when it's self-induced or self-created, it starts to get to tragic levels. And Mr. Rose deals with the outfall of that. And in a way, we're protecting these kids. And I think our discipline policy is meant to promote, not punishing them, not labeling. It's to get them back in the game. And we have all kinds of resources, whether it's a health issue, a family intervention issue, and any one of a number of issues that I'm not qualified to speak on, quite frankly, but they're real. And I think this district at least does a great job in addressing them. So I think just saying may and arming ourselves for any use of anything that we think is ultimately going to go to allowing our children to get a better, more quality based education, I'm all for it.
I might add something. Without putting you on the spot, Dave, could you give the people here in attendance and the people that are home, could you give them a brief rundown the way we approach the drug issue so they're aware of the kind of intervention we have in place?
Absolutely. When a student has violated part of that education code, which is 48900C of being under the influence or possession, we have a series of interventions that we do for our students. If it is a suspicion, we're doing a counseling. We're doing a contact with a parent. We have a Project Success program that's available on our 712 school site campuses that has trained substance abuse counselors that are there to help the students see the realities of substance use and what it could potentially do. If a student is actually caught under the influence or in possession, there's going to be a 5-day suspension. During that 5-day suspension, there is going to be a site discipline hearing that is held that includes the student, their parents, an administrator, a counselor, and site staff, and they invite me. And we review the student's entire cumulative file, looking at all of the antecedents that could lead to negative behavior, looking at supports for that student, and making recommendations to other counseling programs that exist on campus in the community. We are so fortunate in Petaluma to have so many different community organizations that work hand in hand with us to support our students and our families. So we have a myriad of things to refer students to whenever those issues come up. And we make those recommendations based upon what the issue is for the student. One of the tools we use in those meetings is we ask the student to sign a contract saying that they won't repeat that behavior. That contract gives us about a 75% guard against recidivism. So in other words, if we have 10 students signing those contracts, about 8 of them aren't going to repeat that behavior and they're going to stay in our campus. Any contract like that, any suspension like that is a discipline record and it's sealed. It can't go on any applications. It doesn't go on a college transcript. There is no stigma attached to that. If a student's second offense comes up, we're going to look and see, did you follow through on our recommendations? Were you getting the help and support? Parents, did you take our advice to go and get your student tested to get a baseline level of what substances they're putting in their body? Are you monitoring that? We're recommending outside supports, activities, hobbies, things that fill those empty hours that students sometimes, if they're just hanging out, it's when they make their worst decisions. The second event comes up, you as a board are seeing that case. And in the vast majority of those cases, we're asking for you to give us another chance with that student to deal with them on campus under an expulsion, but work with them still within the district and the programs that we have here.
Thank you. I wanted to just address the references to the stigmatism and the potential conflict. I wanted to assure the public that, and Dave's just summarized it, how it works for those students who are actually caught under the influence or in possession, but also for those students who aren't. We have a number of programs on our campuses that are there to educate, and we have I'm just drawing a blank on all the different names, Dave, that we have.
Project Success,
Yes.
Caring School Communities, every 15 minutes.
Right.
There's the Judge Nadler's program where he comes on in the DUI sentencing phase.
Right, and then there's it's a one-word thing that with a kind of a group of at-risk kids. Challenge days, yes, that's another one where there's the opportunity for kids who might be at risk, who can get the relationships built to help them make better decisions and to have the safety and the confidence to stay on our school sites and to be successful. So I wanted to assure the community that we have a number of people in place throughout the district who work extraordinarily hard to make sure that our students stay on campus, stay successful, and make the best decisions they can make so that they don't have problems later on in life. That's unrelated to the policy. I just wanted to comment on that because I'm very proud of the hard work that all of our staff does, because every kid that comes into our district deserves the opportunity to graduate from one of our high schools. And we offer many different types of high schools. And we do everything we can to ensure their success because each of those kids is one of our future community members. And so it's in our best interest that they graduate from high school successfully. So, getting off my soapbox on that. Regarding the policy, we have a number of policies that give us opportunities to try to have the safest campuses available. Unfortunately, based on the funding at the City of Petaluma level, we used to have student resource officers on our campuses, and their presence was actually an extraordinary positive. The relationships that the police officers built with the high school and junior high students was remarkable. It was nice to see them later on when they were downtown. They knew who they were. They weren't afraid of the police. It was a true relationship building opportunity. Sadly, we don't have that anymore. And it would be nice to be able to have that come back at some date in hopefully the near future. That presence actually helped prevent a lot of problems because students knew they were there. They had established a relationship with the officers. They knew they were there. They knew what the requirements were. Since we don't have that as an opportunity, we wanted to look at anything else that would not stigmatize, but would prevent students from bringing illegal substances to school. And so the idea, I believe, is to, if students know that the potential for, some sort of search is there, that it might prevent people from bringing.
I think it's important to note too that a lot of people, I think, trivialize marijuana use, both because of the medicinal marijuana thing, but also I think the aging baby boomers who, I'm going to not say something like, it's not your grandma's marijuana, but it's the potency and the delivery systems of marijuana now, and at least from what I understand from drug counselors and police and people in the know on campus, it's frightening. I mean, this stuff, these kids, it anesthetizes them. They are not able to function. I was just talking to a teacher last week where, a couple of kids, went home ostensibly sick, but the suspicion was that, they were using. And so, it's whether it's ingested or smoked or however way, and they're very sophisticated in how they hide it and conceal it. And I think there's a disconnect there because people are just thinking, kids getting stoned a little bit. It's a problem, and it's a drug problem, and it's medicating them, it's anesthetizing them. And I can't speak to it, Dave, but I know you addressed this a couple times with the studies you've read and looked at of how it actually affects the developing teenage brain.
The impact on the development of the brain is significant. When we're talking about the decision-making development that we want our students to go through, determining between right and wrong, and just gathering the adult faculties of critical thought, frontal lobe development, there are numerous studies out there that show the direct impact of THC.
I think the other thing that I hesitate, I don't want to alarm the public or want anyone to think our schools are unsafe. But I think it's also really important when we see these things coming through closed session on these student disciplines, it's concerning the environment that the marijuana is bringing. There are more weapons and more fighting happening around marijuana than I have. If it's not somebody with a joint and a roach clip anymore. It's now a dagger knife that's also found with the marijuana on our campuses. So it may have been different, Ms. Stokely, for your son back when he was in high school, but it's not what we're seeing now. There's actual violence and fights and things occurring as well. It is our job to protect the children of this community, and we have to make sure we have every tool possible to do that. Again, not to alarm people, but that's why we're doing these things, is to make sure that we can take care of our children and keep our campuses safe.
And to Sherry's point, the other thing we're noticing is it's moving down through the high schools
To the junior high.
to the junior high schools. And if we don't get on it, then we'll be sitting here wondering why are our 5th and 6th graders doing it? I mean, it just keeps getting to the lower and lower levels. And
it's not just high school,
it's
I'd
our,
be interested to see if it was half and half. That's a stat I don't think we've done, but there is a large portion coming from the junior highs as well. And
it's our job to use every resource we can to deter the use and to get it off campus, because
and to identify the students that are having a problem so we can help
support them.
It doesn't help us if they're coming to school high every day and we don't know. It's not good for a child to come to school high for 4 years of high school and barely graduate, and none of us, we didn't notice, and so now they're going nowhere with their life. That's not okay. We need to make sure that they have opportunity and that they're learning. So the sooner we know there's a problem.
The ratios of the high school, junior high, 4 years ago, it was 10-1, high school to junior high. It's now 3-1.
There you go.
And again, to one of our speakers' point, I mean, the sooner we can get to these kids, early intervention, educate them, the better. But until we know who they are, pretty tough to educate them, or their families.
Right. And again, I don't want the public to think that we're using the dogs to find out who they are. We want them just to not bring anything onto campus. That the point is to prevent, not to.
Well, again, I think
Right.
the dogs to the baby boomers is Selma, Alabama or
Right,
something.
right, right.
Nobody's gonna put the dogs on the kids. The kids
They're
won't even be around the
separate, yeah,
dogs.
yeah.
The dogs, they won't even know the dogs are on campus,
Right.
quite frankly, because of, at least according to how the officer presented to us, it's, there's no interaction between the kids and the dogs. That's not the point at all.
I just finish up by saying that clearly we're not doing anything less on the education level that we do. I think every year we do more. The numbers are getting greater. But it's also a matter of fairness in the sense that this is a tremendous drain on the limited resources of a district that gets the exact same amount of dollars for each kid that comes. So when a certain group saps the resources that, as Dave went through an entire process that included, as we learned last board meeting, a significant number of paid employees, full-time paid benefited employees that are not directly instructing children on Algebra 1, it creates a, for lack of a better term, just a misallocation of the resources of the school district. That we're not doing our primary job, and our primary job is to educate kids. So anything that we can do that's reasonable to continue educating them on the evils of drugs and what not to do, but at the same time trying to minimize societal impacts that are out there on the rest of the population is what we're supposed to do.
It would also be nice if we could come up with some way to educate the parents. Because there are a number of parents who don't seem to understand some of the actions that they take that affect their children.
Well, to your point, because we end up with parents who tacitly maybe approve or don't discipline their child to make this not an impact on the schools, and at the same time will come here and tell us, well, why isn't the band program fully funded, and how come I don't have enough AP classes?
Right.
You can't have both.
Right.
And it's becoming a problem.
Okay.
There
Well,
are
thank you.
parent education features to two of the targeted prevention strategies that we have. Project Success, as well as one of the other programs has that parent component.
Excellent. And I know that there's also the involvement when there are actual incidents of possession or under the influence, because the district is dealing actively with the parents. But it's the parents whose kids haven't been caught, who don't see it in the same way and don't understand what the schools are going through.
And I want to thank the speakers, because I
Yes.
personally appreciate people that take their time, especially coming even from another town and still feeling a connection to Petaluma, for sharing your ideas, because I know that it resonates with people different ways, and it's important for us to hear that. So I do really, really appreciate your insight and the information.
Yes.
I'm also concerned, reading in the newspaper, that you're using the DARE program in the elementary schools. And the research has shown that the DARE program has an opposite effect of what you think it might be doing, the just say no. Actually, the research studies have been shown that the children who go through the DARE program are more likely to use drugs rather than the other way around. And so I'm very concerned that you brought this into your elementary schools.
One of the reasons that we wanted to have this in the newspaper was so that we could get the public to come and share their ideas, because we want to make sure that we've heard from everybody that has an opinion, so that we can make a decision that incorporates everybody's ideas. So, thank you. Okay. And now, we have public report of action taken in closed session in accordance with Government Code 54957.1. And On topic. Case number 37. A case has been presented to the board that the student did commit an expellable act as defined by the California Education Code. The recommended motion is for the board to expel and to suspend the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance to board policy and to allow continued enrollment in a district school under mandated conditions. The student's suspended expulsion status will be in effect for the spring semester of the 2011-2012 school year and the fall semester of the 2012-2013 school year. Conditions above subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, substance abuse counseling program and screenings, community service, and appropriate academic performance. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Case number 38. A case has been presented to the board that the student did commit an expellable act as defined by the California Education Code. The recommended motion is for the board to expel and to suspend the site discipline team's recommendation for expulsion in accordance to board policy and to allow continued enrollment in a district school under mandated conditions. The student's suspended expulsion status will be in effect for the spring semester of the 2011-2012 school year and the fall semester of the 2012-2013 school year. Conditions above are subject to review with evidence of positive attendance, satisfactory behavior, substance abuse counseling program and screenings, community service, and appropriate academic performance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do I have to read all of these individually?
You can tie the two, we have the two that go together.
Okay.
Doesn't change
Okay.
the,
All right. Resolution, these are actions we took regarding employment issues. Resolution 11-12-22 and Resolution 11-12-23. During the previous closed session, the board adopted by a roll call vote Resolution 11-12-22 and 11-12-23 to give notice of release to 6.95 full-time equivalent temporary certificated employees who served less than 75% of the number of days. The regular schools of the district were maintained effective May 25th, 2012, pursuant to Education Code Section 44954A, and to authorize the district superintendent or designee to notify the affected employees. Under 23, it was June 1st was the day, and 1.4 full-time equivalent temporary certificated. That was, the vote was 5-0. And Resolution 11-12-24 and 11-12-25. During the previous closed session, the board adopted by a roll call vote Resolution 11-12-24 and 11-12-25 to give notice of non-reelection to 20.5 full-time equivalent temporary certificated employees who served more than 75% of the number of days. The regular schools of the district were maintained effective May 25th, 2012, pursuant to Education Code 44954B, and to authorize the district superintendent or designee to notify the affected employees. For 11-12-25, that was 0.525 full-time equivalents, and the effective date was June 1st. Resolutions 11-12-26 and 11-12-27. During the previous closed session, the board adopted by a roll call vote Resolution 11-12-26 and 11-12-27 to give notice of non-reelection to full 2.0 full-time equivalent probationary certificated employees effective May 25th, 2012, pursuant to Education Code Section 44929.21, and to authorize the district superintendent or designee to notify the affected employees. Under 11-12-27, that was 1 full-time equivalent effective June 30th. Resolution 11-12-28. During the previous closed session, the board adopted by a roll call vote Resolution 11-12-28 to give notice of release or non-reelection to 21 temporary hourly adult education certificated employees effective June 30th, 2012, pursuant to Education Code Section 44954 and to authorize the district superintendent or designee to notify the affected employees. All of these were on 5-0. Sorry, I didn't say it after each one. And then the last one, Resolution 11-1229. During the previous closed session, the board adopted by a roll call vote Resolution 11-1229 to give notice of release to 1.7 certificated administrative employees effective June 30th, 2012, pursuant to Education Code Section 44951, and to authorize the superintendent or designee to notify the affected employees. That was on a vote of 5-0. Item M, future business calendar of activities for board members' consideration and agenda items for our next meeting. The next regular meeting will be held here at 6 p.m., March 13th, 2012.
On March 13th, we will also be, the board will also be interviewing the grant principal applicants, finalists. So, McKinley, excuse me, thank you.
You just scared.
So we want to start at 5 o'clock if you're available.
Okay.
Oh, what day is it?
The 13th.
13th.
And it's a Tuesday. And then the 15th we have.
And then on the 15th, we have
that principal.
a special meeting just for the interviewing Petaluma High School principal
Right.
position.
Right.
And we could start at 6 o'clock since there's no other action if that works for the board members.
15?
It's
It's
Thursday the
Thursday.
15th.
So 13th, starting at 5.
I don't know if I'm available that day. I'll double check. It might be the 14th. I'll double check.
Okay.
Okay.
So
As long as
would you let Steve know what time this works for you?
6 o'clock or
6 o'clock on Thursday, it's 5 o'clock on Tuesday for closed session, so we do it before.
Only because we just hired you officially. I will make that one.
Okay, I'm
It's already
sorry,
bossy,
6
you
o'clock?
No.
15th?
6 o'clock on the 15th and 5 o'clock on the
At
13th.
least I would have been early.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Okay. All right. Now we will adjourn for signing of papers of a routine nature. Thank you all for coming.